one of the things that we've talked about in the past is obesity and how problematic that is. The CDC put out a study the other day, or this is like 2 weeks ago now, that said that something on the order of 38% of all people who were hospitalized, intubated, who died from COVID were obese. And so obviously it's not the fact that they have extra weight, it's all of the strains that extra weight puts on your body, the manifestations of everything from high cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, to challenges with your cardiopulmonary system and other problems in terms of the pressure put on your other organs, et cetera. And I learned this morning, I was doing some research for a different purpose, that the state of Alabama, over 36% of their population is characterized as obese, and that there are 9 other states or so with obesity rates in excess of that. So when you talk about being proactive about your health, I think you're also talking about individual responsibility and getting ahead of those issues as well, right?
Absolutely. The thing is that nobody gets up in the morning and, says, I think I'll gain weight and become obese today. I mean, it's just a general lack of understanding on how the human body works and what's possible, and also how habits work and how you can lean into doing things a different way. It takes no more energy to maintain a bad habit than a good habit. So that's just to figure out how we turn that around a little bit. And, it's interesting, Todd, because before a person gets hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, heart attack, strokes, diabetes, kidney failure, kidney failure, and blindness and things that we've talked about, there's a state called Metabolic Syndrome, and in Japan they call it Metabo. And they actually, in Japan, if the people in your company are developing metabolic syndrome or Metabo, they put another tax on your corporation. And what that has done is it has set up a situation where the corporations have taken more responsibility to create more active workplaces, to have healthier food, to discount healthier food versus the less healthy foods, and create a whole culture of helping people not go into that place of a metabolic disaster. And by the time you get to a BMI of 30, which is what the definition of obesity is, unless you're a weightlifter and incredibly fit, which is relatively rare, you're going to be at metabolic war. And what that means is when you take in food, it kind of goes in your mouth, in your stomach, into your blood. And now you've got cholesterol and fat floating through your blood. There's no room in the end. So you've got your pancreas on one hand trying to get it out of the blood. You've got the fat cells on the other hand that are absolutely stuffed and they don't have any room. And there's a battle going on. And literally a person it blows up or is destroyed from the inside out. And that's what we see now with all of these metabolic conditions. One other quick comment, Todd, is you were talking about COVID. I think most of us at the beginning of COVID thought we were going to see a bunch of asthmatics and COPDers in the ICUs. But it was surprising a month into it when the ICUs were starting to fill up. It wasn't the people with respiratory problems. It was the people with metabolic syndrome that were disproportionately high in their in COVID and COVID morbidity and mortality. So that metabolic war I just talked about actually not only predicts diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and the other things, but it predicts a failure of the immune system to be able to protect people from COVID. So it's sad and it's a choice. The thing is that we don't have to go there if we can support and help people with social determinants as well as personal determinants to get things to goal.
So one of the things I know you do, because you've shared this with me, is I know you develop plans for companies. So you're the chief medical officer for a large number of companies, 30 plus or so. Tell me how it is to get people engaged in their own healthcare and what challenges you face in that. So we've talked about personal responsibility, but how hard do you find that to be as a chief medical officer and otherwise in your observations as a practitioner?
It's really fun, to be honest. I love it, and I wouldn't do anything different. And to be honest, how it is for me, Todd, is you have the personal determinants of health, and that's what we're talking about. And there are 3 or 4 major things. First of all, you've got to get your numbers, know your numbers, and to the degree you're capable of keeping the goal. Number two is you want to get your cancer screenings, and colon cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer. They're the top cancer, and lung cancer would be the fourth one, are the most prevalent and severe cancers in terms of that in terms of numbers, and that's the number of people who are affected as well as the number of dollars spent. So there's a tremendous amount we can do about cancer that we're not doing today. But on the other side of the coin, so those are personal determinants. And on the other side of the coin, you've got the social determinants. And when we talk about those, of course, we're talking about how our communities function and food deserts. I know you've done a lot of great work around the United States in finding those. But between the personal determinants and the social determinants are the corporate determinants of health. And those are the things that corporations can do to add years to the life and life to the years of their employees and their family members. And there's a large number of variables that corporations are choosing to either lean into and pull the levers or ignore. And now, because of the cost of healthcare, more and more companies are willing to ask the question, what can I do? And we're not talking wellness programs. Wellness programs, honestly, are more around the culture of the company. We're talking about things like, are medications affordable to employees? Do they know where to go when they have a problem? Are they going to the top doctors? Are they going to, Dr. Butcher, who's going to do neck and back and hip surgery on every person you can, get to come in and get surgery done? Are their formularies leading people to better medications? Or are the formularies having them get low value medications that cost a fortune and actually bankrupting the middle class with the way that many things are done today? So there are many, many corporate determinants of health, and I have the honor of working with corporations to put those in place. And I will tell you right now, I'll take the challenge of anybody listening to this. If you haven't leaned in and you haven't done this work, I would virtually guarantee you that in the first year, we could save 10% of what you're spending on healthcare just by taking simple fraud, waste, and abuse out of your system. It's that bad in terms of what we got going on right now.
And that's